Hello, everyone, and ooh, that was weird. Howdy, folks, and welcome to another episode of Vulnerability Time. This is uncut, unedited, raw. Why? Because it's vulnerability time. We're gonna be vulnerable. We're not gonna be perfect here. We're gonna be human. So yes, with that being said, welcome to Vulnerability Time. I am your host, Trenton Epizon Rucker. So lovely to have y'all here with us. We also have a special guest. We have Kobe. Kobe's currently attending Lamar University, chemical engineer from Beaumont, Texas, and you're currently interning as a projects and optimization engineering at Enbridge Energy. Ooh, so chemical engineering language. I don't know what any of that means, but it sounds cool. Dude, can you tell us if you wouldn't mind, can you tell us a little bit about like what you do? Like what is projects and optimization engineering intern at Enbridge Energy?
Yeah, sure. Okay. So it's really not any chemical engineering, I will be honest. It's kind of a
Oh.
vague engineering role. So the projects and optimization team just kind of specializes in project sponsorship and managing the cost, scheduling, and execution of various projects that Enbridge has. Basically, each member of our team has a specific style of project that they're each working on. And I'm interning with my mentor going over what's called the MAOPR project.
Mm.
And yeah, making pretty good progress on that. Looking to save the company lots of money. So, definitely some stuff I can use the end of my internship to hopefully snag a job.
There you go.
so,
Networking.
so yeah, absolutely. It's been a great experience so far. And yeah, that's my internship. Pretty cool.
Oh, so what very briefly, what got you in the route of chemical engineer? Why chemical engineer?
Okay. So I've been from day one, ever since I considered chemical engineering, the main aspect that I've always been preaching is going into like renewable, sustainable, newer forms of like clean energy. And honestly, Enbridge is making some pretty great strides in that regard. I won't get too much into the technical side of things, but right now they're looking at transporting hydrogen through their pipeline system, which would be way more beneficial to the environment versus using natural gas. There's no
Oh.
pollution. And so,
Oh.
yeah, renewable energy has always been a very strong passion of mine. I just think that's kind of where kind of society's tailoring energy needs towards, because fossil fuels are becoming outdated. They're still going to be relevant for the next like 20 to 50 years or so, but we are making that transition, and I want to be a part of that initiative, moving society forward as far as more forms of renewable and clean energy. Basically, that's my main um, initiative as to why I picked chemical engineering. I feel like it could give me the best chance to pursue that industry.
Oh, that's awesome. I never thought about it like that. I don't know anything about chemical engineering. When I hear chemical engineering, I just think chemistry and math and more math and then just a little bit more math.
Oh my
But
gosh, tell me about it.
I think that's so cool though that that you have that passion in it. Wow. I learned something new, folks. Like, wow, we're actually making a transition. What?
Yeah, usually you think chemical engineering, especially if you live in Beaumont, Texas, you think like refining, you think Exxon, you just think of plants and all that and flares and stuff, but there's so much more to chemical
Hmm.
engineering than just processing. Like you can go into makeup, you can go in the production of makeup, you can go into food production. So many things. Very versatile.
So cool. I
Oh yeah.
oh. Well, folks, that's awesome. That's it for our no, I'm just kidding. y'all, today we're going to be talking about boundaries in relationships, healing, and fighting battles alone. Um, so with that being said, I'm just going to go ahead and get started. And Colby, thank you once again for, giving us a little bit of background um, of your major and like what you do. And thank you for being a special guest on this show. Um, so boundaries in relationships. What what about that resonated with you? What about that topic resonates with you?
Well, first of all, thank you for the warm introduction. Very honored to be on
Welcome.
this podcast. So why did I pick this topic? Well, I have, I guess I could say, a pretty decent amount of relationship experience. And I think it's very important, especially in this modern age, for people to know the difference between healthy and unhealthy relationships. Because obviously, there's some clear distinctions between what healthy and unhealthy relationships look like. You know, for the most part, a healthy relationship is supposed to be easy in the sense of like, you shouldn't be arguing all the time and you shouldn't be like stressed out all the time. Like, it should be easy. You should be comfortable to a degree, you know, interacting with your partner regularly, spending quality time together, all the very typical things. But I think that those lines can kind of get blurred a little bit in some situations, and distinguishing between a healthy and unhealthy relationship gets kind of difficult, especially when you've been with someone for a pretty extended period of time. You know, whenever you're in love and maybe it's your first experience, you kind of maybe overlook some things that a person outside would be like, hey, that's not good. You should probably take a look at that.
Right.
I've definitely experienced that before. And yeah, it's some of those things get kind of nuanced. And I think it's pretty important for people to know not only the clear distinctions between healthy and unhealthy relationships, but just kind of navigating those little things that maybe you kind of look over a little bit, because the longer that you enable it, the kind of the worse it's gonna get, and then you might just kind of be in too deep and things can't end well, you know. So yeah, that's kind of what. Yeah.
It sounds kind of reminds me of because I've done this before, y'all. Is like Cody was like, oh my god, if I say Cody, it's Kobe with the B. I'm dyslexic, so the B looks like a D. So what Kobe was saying, how like others looking from the outside, they're like, yeah, that's probably not okay, but like you said, like in the midst of it, it can become blurry, and um we could kind of like overlook it. So it sounds like, at least for me, I've done this, falling in love with the idea rather than the reality, because we want, and this can go for friendships, all types of connections, relationships, because it's like we want it to be a certain way, or let's say if it started off a certain way and that was nice, the way it started off was wonderful, and it's just like it starts to not be that way anymore, but we're like, we can unintentionally overlook it, and it can become unhealthy. Does that make sense, Kobe?
Oh man,
I said it right.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh man, yeah. You kind of hit it on the head there.
Oh, violence.
I can comment on a couple of those things. So as far as like, okay, as far as like it's starting out well, at least how you perceive it to be good, and then it kind of goes into something else. I can definitely attest to that, especially my first, really serious relationship. Things started off rather quickly, and we kind of just went straight into it. No, like, caution, just threw caution to the wind, just jumped in, did, you know, everything you can do. And as time goes on, it's like, then you kind of move into, I guess, somewhat of like normalcy. Like you're not as intense about the relationship all the time like you are when you first start out. And then it was kind of jarring to me. And it because we were both immature, I would say, whenever we started. And this was my first relationship. So I didn't know how to handle that transition from kind of that initial like puppy love type to just
honeymoon
right, to kind of like settling in. And I never quite figured it out. And I mean, it lasted almost 2 years, which is like kind of insane. But I mean, ultimately, I just don't think that it definitely needed to happen. I had flaws that were kind of exposed that I didn't know that I had. And it's really, really helped into my new relationship because I'm a lot better communicator and that's something else that I'd like to as well. Guys, girls, everyone out there, communication, right? That is like the number one skill to have in a relationship. I tell you, please communicate. Oh my gosh, it is so important. I think it gets overlooked like crazy because it's not just talking to your partner. It's so much more than that, right? Like when you're having a discussion or like an argument, whatever, like you need to convey yourself in the most clear and optimized manner to deal with the problem, and don't just, try to be right, because if you try to win the argument or discussion, what are you winning? Like, are you just winning a miserable partner for the rest of the week? Like, nothing good comes out of winning an argument. Like, it's just, you want to tackle the discussion as a team and get to the problem and deal with that.
You don't want to be arguing to be like, what is the intention behind the argument? Do you just want to be right, or do you want to genuinely find a solution? Is that what you're saying? Yeah, I mean, some things that I've also learned with communication, also the tone, folks. And as you, learn your partner, learn yourself, tone is going to be very important. Because majority of, fun fact as well, y'all, I don't know if this is kind of random, but majority of verbal is nonverbal. Did y'all know that? Did you know that? It's so weird. I'm like, how? But that's actually a statistic. I think it's like 90% of communication is nonverbal. I don't know, but it's somewhere in the 90s or something like that. Yeah,
Right.
Look it up, y'all, because I'm gonna have to look it up after this. Actually, I'm gonna forget to look it up, but just know that it's a lot. It's a lot. It's like, yeah, tone, using the I statements, not wanting to, I guess, I mean, and this can be based off, like each circumstance is different, but not listening to respond, but listening to understand. Just like generally, just because you understand someone doesn't necessarily mean that you're agreeing with them or you're saying that they're right. It's just like, okay, I see why you got 2 + 2 = 5. Because to me, 2 + 2 = 3. Yeah, this is just an example, y'all. It's clearly 4. But it's like, to me, 2 + 2 = 3. To my partner, 2 + 2 = 5. So it's just like, I don't agree, because my way, I'm like 2 + 2 = 3. And they're like, no, it equals 5. And so it's frustrating because I'm like, how did you even get to that? Like, and it's just like, just as much as I want them to understand me, I want to understand them, basically. I don't know, that doesn't make sense. But it can kind of like ease the frustration, when you finally get an understanding towards the other person of where they're coming from. Like, this is not just out of the blue. I don't know. and a couple of things that as well that you said, things that you learned about yourself as well, in that relationship, the skills you learn how communication can be important, is important, excuse me. And there's also a lot of things that we learn in relationships, whether they end off bad or not, we can learn, hey, I can actually commit to something. Like, though commitment could be worked on, I actually can commit. I actually can open up my heart and allow someone in. I at least can open up a little bit more and allow someone in. Um, I am capable of trying. I am capable of not giving up when I feel like it or when it looks like it's hopeless, if that makes sense.
Right. No, yeah, that's
So, Kobe, point out those
yeah.
skills in you, my dude.
Yeah, man. That's a really interesting point. Just going through a long-term relationship, kind of like, how do I say it? You get to see a lot about yourself that maybe you didn't know. Like I didn't know that I was capable of loving a person for like 2 years and committing to them through like very hard times. And it's like you realize like how much you're willing to go through with a person when you just ultimately want the best, not only for like for them, but kind of for the both of you and your relationship. If it's someone you really care about, it's pretty remarkable. It's almost beautiful in a way. Just like you do these things almost subconsciously, like in the moment, you don't really even think about it. But now that that particular relationship is over, I can look back like, wow, I really did a lot to make
Hmm.
sure this would work and turn out the best way possible. And I mean, things, and it doesn't always work out. But I mean, if you feel like you tried and you put your best foot forward, then there's really no reason to feel remorse or like regret about it at all. Like it's yeah, that's probably the best way that you can go about it. Just making sure at the end of the day that you tried your best, because like I said, you'll learn the most about yourself the more effort you put in. Because a lot of these relationships come down to effort. Communication, like communication is important. I think is number one. I'm probably biased on that because it's definitely burned me before. So that's why I put it
Right.
so high. And
Yeah.
effort is definitely up there as well, because it is very surprising how outcomes can change depending on the level of effort that you put in. You can almost compare to a degree, like the same situation, but like different relationships and like different levels of effort people put in. And it can last so much longer. You can both come out so much better just because you both are willing to put in the effort to communicate, listen to each other, and then work through these issues that maybe you don't initially agree on. But you're willing to look in the long term, be like, well, this isn't going to be the reason that this relationship is over. So you
Right.
both put your best foot forward to put in that effort to fix things and to grow, to like nurture your relationship, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, ultimately, you'll become stronger because of it. So
Right.
yeah, yeah,
And
effort is important.
also, it can also show you, that you're lovable. Now I know
Yep.
that love is like I feel like love is a beautiful thing. However, we are human, so when it gets into our hands, we can do some things with it. We can do some bad and good things with it. So I'm
Yeah.
not saying perfection, y'all. Just if you are lovable, um, someone needs to hear that, and we it's very common and it's so easy, to um I don't want to say point out the bad, but to point out the our mess ups or their mess ups as well. Folks, that hey, if those mess ups are valid, you have every right to point them out. However, the glass is not half empty and it's not half full. It is both. It is both half empty and half full. You have to acknowledge the full truth in order, to see that growth. the pain can show you the purpose. Y'all, so give yourself some pats on the back. If you made your significant other smile just once, you have added something good to that relationship. I'm not saying the relationship was healthy. I'm not saying it was unhealthy. I don't know, folks listening, I don't know y'all's individual circumstances and relationships. However, you might have a lot more good that you put into it than you thought, and a lot more good that you got out of it than you thought. Not saying that people can't do you wrong and that they can do you dirty. Oh, fuck yes. However, what I'm also saying is that is the case. Yes, people can be trash, and maybe we have been trash. However, we don't have to be perfect to be loved. And then two, did you smile just once in that relationship? Did you make your significant other smile just once? Did you look back and just be like, did I learn something? Did I learn how I'm not going to let someone treat me? Did I learn, wow, I attract only this type of person? Is that something I need to work on? There, y'all, there, at least what helped me is, I just sat down, and when I'm talking about relationships, I'm talking about relationships. Hashtag team single, like almost all my life. But if Nick Jonas, if you're out there, I am single.
Oh my god.
It's true. I am single, Nick Jonas. I know me and him are already married, but I'm yes. But I just literally sat down and I just wrote a letter as if I was going to give it to this person. Now, I didn't give it to them. However, I just sat down, Kobe, and I just wrote a letter. I was just completely honest in that letter. I was hurt. I was hurt, and this had
Yeah.
just happened. And I just wrote a letter as if I was going to give it to them. Like, these are the things I wish I could say to them, or these are just my honest thoughts, y'all. And let me tell you something. If you decide to write this letter, what it does, it puts your thoughts onto paper. It gets it out. I even said in the paper, I was like, I hope this person gets hit by a bus. Like, I was like, I
Oh
hate you
god.
so much. I love you so much at the same time. Why was I so stupid? Why didn't you chase after me? Why did I do this to you? Why didn't you do this to me? And I poured out all that bad stuff. And then towards the end, I was also like, I am hurting so much right now, and I miss you so, so, so much, and I don't want to show myself that I miss you or show you that I miss you, because I'm afraid it might be seen as weak. I'm afraid that it will be too vulnerable and that you will have the opportunity to harm me again, or I harm myself again. But then at the end, I also was like, though this sucks and this hurts, and I'm probably not gonna get over this for shit, who knows how long. You did make me smile. I did learn this about me. You know, Once upon a time, I felt loved by you. Once upon a time, you were what I needed. Though it was not perfect, you were what I needed. Um, Folks, I'm just trying to, basically what I'm saying is, let's, it's very easy for us to just, write off our ex friendships. Let's acknowledge the full glass, though, not just the half empty part. Let's acknowledge the full glass. Let's acknowledge the full truth of the relationship. Let, let's see what that does for our mental health, for our emotional health. Because maybe by us acknowledging that honest truth, honesty equals healing, y'all. And that is also our next topic. See how I did that? I didn't even do that on purpose. But honesty equals healing. Hey, it's okay to be vulnerable and acknowledge to yourself and acknowledge that this person, I don't like them anymore. I hate them, or maybe I really do miss them and I'm just like disguising it as hate because I don't want to admit to myself that I miss them. And
Right.
like, right? Like, hey, I've been there. Hashtag human. But
Right.
maybe y'all are, maybe that pain has purpose. You have to acknowledge the pain in order to see the purpose, folks. So maybe we have to acknowledge that full truth, because there is going to be that bad and that good. And I say quote unquote bad because some things are bad, but some things that we think are bad might not actually be so bad. Maybe it's just a learned lesson. It just feels bad. Mm-hmm. So it's
First.
like,
Oh yeah.
maybe we got to take that into the next relationship. Maybe it's not just about us. Maybe it is just about us acknowledging this full truth. So y'all, there are so many aspects and great things that could possibly come out of acknowledging the full truth for ourselves, not only just for others. Because I know what we say, oh, we can take it into the next relationship, what we learn. No, let's not discredit ourselves, y'all. We are important. We are important enough to heal and to grow and to gain, from a relationship. So yeah. And I guess what, y'all, our thoughts aren't always our facts. Thoughts aren't always facts, y'all. So we can definitely think the worst of this person. But just at least try just one time. I'm just gonna challenge y'all one time. Don't be all huge with it. Start off very small. Did this person make you smile at least just once? Did once upon a time did y'all love each other? Did you love them? Because all these good qualities. Now it's easy to focus on the bad, y'all. We're gonna let's highlight the good for once. Let's just highlight the good for once, y'all. There is so much great things about you as a person that you have brought into this world and into a relationship with someone. Um, it might not have been in vain, folks, and I'm just talking to everyone and myself.
Right. Yeah. I have a lot to comment on. I started taking notes on my little
Oh, I
note
love
app
that.
because
Go
like
for it.
yeah, no, my mentor at my internship is that I'm very good at note taking, and I'm starting to see why he says that. But okay, so kind of going back a little bit, actually, let me check my notes here. Okay, yeah. So I think you need to be pretty objective whenever you're looking at your partner, whenever you're trying to, if you're feeling a certain type of way, you need to be aware that the other person does have flaws and they're not perfect. Kind of what you said earlier about don't fall in love or don't chase this idea you have of them. It's just look at who they are, not who you want them to be, I guess. And
Ooh, I need to hear
because
that.
my friend my friend he's always told me like expectations can really kill relationships, and I think that has kind of rang true more than ever, just because you can't bring expectations from one relationship where you knew someone for so long and you love them for so long. You can't bring those like expectations into something new with somebody else. It's a completely different person. You're starting out completely different, and you kind of need it's hard. Like it was very, very difficult to not fully bring in those expectations, because I would end up letting myself down a lot and getting disappointed, and like for what? Just because like it's not fair to that new partner, right? Because it's like you just can't do that. I'm gonna be kind of harsh, but it's like I feel very strongly about it, just because it did a lot of harm to myself, not really much to her, but it's just like I ended up breaking my own heart, just because like I just, yeah, having those expectations and expecting kind of your other relationships to come into that mold is impossible, and it's not fair to the other person or to you, because again, you mostly just end up hurting yourself. And so I think that's an important distinction. Like you kind of need to approach the relationship as it is and grow it from there. Don't bring previous expectations into something new and try to force it to be like that again. because it's a completely different person, right? And I guess segues into something else I was going to say is reflecting on relationships, which I guess goes into healing. Reflecting on relationships once they're over is extremely important, I would say. Once my first serious relationship was over, it was in the summer, right when school ended. So just for that whole summer, like I didn't have people to really talk to about it. I did go to my friend the week after, and that was amazing. He helped me so much. He knows who he is. So that was awesome.
Shout out to him. What's his name? Shout out to him. What's his first name?
Connor.
Hey, Connor. Okay.
Oh yeah, he's amazing. I love that dude so much. Other than that, I was kind of to myself about it. I didn't have quite like as many friends I do now. I didn't know as many people, so everyone was busy. So I was just literally pretty much by myself for those 3 or 4 months. So I kind of had to go through my healing journey on my own, in a sense, which I guess I got kind of lucky. I think it ended up pretty well. I don't know what that could be. Maybe I was a little more emotionally mature than I've given myself credit for. I really don't know. But because I've compared with friends that I know that have gone through the same thing, like long relationship, breakup, but it's in the middle of a semester. So they have tons of other people to confide in, but then also there's tons of other people. So there's a chance that you could like entertain little side things that maybe you wouldn't do if you were alone. Like you don't have that temptation, right? Like you're just alone with your thoughts, and then you just, your healing journey is really up to you at that point, right?
Right.
And but then if you're around people at university, there's a surplus amount of distractions that you could kind of dive into instead of just facing that healing face on, right? And just going at the issue, realizing what happened, and then kind of growing from there, which I think your letter idea is very insightful, and I never considered that before, because honestly, I kind of wish that I could do that. Okay. So yeah, I don't know, I got tongue-tied for a second. So I had just realized not that long ago, within a couple of months, I would say, 3, 4 months, I kind of realized in my previous relationship that it wasn't very healthy towards the end. And I already kind of knew it wasn't, but it was more unhealthy than I had originally thought, because I got blamed for a lot of stuff that either wasn't my fault or wasn't completely my fault, but I somehow ended up just getting completely blamed for everything, which I think kind of goes into that immaturity, just on both ends, I guess. Me not willing to speak up, and then her just, I don't know, not taking accountability, I guess. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, I guess I kind of suppressed that for a while, because I always thought that she was in the right, and I just had to apologize and do anything that I could do to make things easier and to just kind of keep the status quo, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, you really need to speak up for yourself, folks. Please do that. It's gonna help so much. You're gonna really appreciate yourself for it. I've seen improvement in it already. Like I have spoken up when I have issues with things now, and it helps a lot. It's amazing what happens when you communicate effectively to your partner. Y'all should really try it.
That word, effective. Effective.
Yeah, right. Right. Like, yeah, it's not just talking. It's you really need to make sure you have a plan. You need to do your due diligence whenever you're especially if you know you have a discussion coming up with this person. make sure you kind of plan out what you want to say. Don't just kind of go cold turkey into it. You don't want to miss it. You don't want to miss important things. You don't want to leave the table being like, oh man, I forgot to bring this up. Man, now we're going to have to talk again or whatever. It's just, you don't want to leave feeling like you left anything there. You want to make sure you get it, everything. Y'all can move forward whichever way you want to go. If things end up not working out, well, at least you figured it out right there and not further down the road. Or, you know, things could grow and be better. But it's just, yeah, man, it's, I can't stress that communication is unreal. And yeah, so I guess that's a bit about my healing journey. I definitely feel a lot better now that I had to kind of go through it on my own, and kind of gave me a lot of perspective about myself, kind of how much I'm willing to, I don't want to use the word tolerate, but how much I'm willing to go through with a person, because I just think that if I'm really committed to someone, I'm willing to do almost anything to make it work. Mm-hmm. It's definitely an effective skill, or maybe not a skill, but just trait, I guess. Mm-hmm. But it definitely has its limits, or at least it should. You don't want to just go through everything, and regardless of what they do, you know, it's like I said, you definitely need to speak up when things, you have a contingency with something. But also, I think maybe a lot of people give up too easy. Like there's definitely points that I've been in where we could have just given up because things get difficult. But it's amazing what happens whenever you just decide to not give up. You work through it. Things tend to get better. It's just the fact that I think people they're just too scared to confront it, right? Because you don't want to hurt the other person. You know, you don't want to see them upset, and you don't want, and you know, you're scared that this might end if I bring this up. Yeah. Because this is like, this is something that I feel really passionate about, but I'm too scared because if they disagree with me on this pretty heavily, it's like, I don't see a way past it, so I'm just not going to bring it up so I don't cause any problems.
You know what that makes me think of? How many of us have seen, well, I guess I'll just speak for me. It took me a long time to, when it comes to friendships, to not give up when something, you know, gets difficult. Because I know for me, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate, I've seen certain patterns as a child of when I expressed my needs and wants, they got shut down, invalidated, I was ignored, or they just like walked away. And I'm going to throw my parents under the bus. Yep.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah, we're going to throw parents under the bus. They need to be held accountable. I'm not sugarcoating anything. They did what they did. Hey, they're going to be held accountable. There's no point in me saving face for them. Yeah, and so I was so scared to communicate because I'm like, are they even going to think it's important? You know what I mean? Are they going to just quit on me because what I'm sharing, you know, expressing my needs and wants, you know, and obviously, you know, the wants can be compromised. I mean, relationships, it just can, there has to be some compromises sometimes, you know, but I just know that there's a lot of times, you know, there's more to that fear of communicating, folks. There could be more to that fear of communicating. I mean, I'm still learning it. You know, I know, like, when I go back to therapy, in August, something that I'm gonna do. By the way, y'all, it's July right now, 2022. For July 1st. Oh, this episode's being recorded July 1st, y'all. This won't be released until like August. Okay, but anyways, folks, um, yeah, Kobe, it's like I'm gonna when I go back to therapy, because I want to know what the root um of my fear to communicate is. Like, I feel like I've definitely, have learned to communicate, and it's still a learning process, always room to grow, always healing, always process. However, there has to be something, and I know that there's a pattern within my childhood, and the times that I express these are my needs. Oh my God, that kind of goes into attachment styles. That goes into I forgot. Is it anxious attachment? Folks, go look up attachment styles. This is vulnerability time, so I purposely did not come prepared. This is just gonna be just flow authentically. So
Yeah.
it's not really none of this is calculated. Except for the intro with credibility of introducing the person, like obviously where they're from, their credentials. That's the calculated part. But other than that, everything else is um just uncalculated, raw. Anyways, the point is, it's flowing, it's fluid. Um, I do know though, Kobe, that is, I remember I was reading up on attachment styles, and I was looking like this is like what, a year or two ago, and I was looking, I was like, oh, I thought I was this attachment style, and I was like, well, looks like I got three of them. I was just like, thanks, trauma, thanks, parents,
Oh my gosh,
thanks,
man.
thanks, we
I,
love it. Yeah,
no,
and
I
so,
totally understand.
right? There's like so much because like I remember like my oh God. I call my father a demon sometimes. That demon. That demon. Lucifer's step cousin.
Oh my Lord.
It's like when I would communicate my needs, it would be met with yelling or abuse. But when I would see my brother communicate his needs, it wasn't always met with that. Um, I don't recall it being met with that. Now, when I say I don't recall it being met with abuse and yelling like it was me, is because, I'm noticing these things. I'm hurting every time I notice how my father communicates with my brother. So, of course, all the good times he's communicated with him, those are the times it hurt me. So, of course, that's what I recall. Um, But knowing the demon, I'm just like, yeah, this probably was also bad times. But it was a lot better. He actually loved my brother. I will say that. So seeing, especially like when you're in a household, seeing, and this can just, I guess, go with just anything. When you're around, an environment where you're communicating your needs and it's not being met. However, you go to another environment, and this could be like going over to a friend's house and they're communicating their needs with their parents and their folks, and it is met, in a healthy way, whether it's a disagreement or not. Their needs were heard. It doesn't mean it has to be perfect all the time, but it's like their needs were heard. And it's just like, wow, why didn't I get that? So it can be kind of like frustrating. And it's like, there are folks out there, that if you communicate your needs, can be met. However, it's kind of hard. I mean, wouldn't you agree, Kobe?
Yeah, I.
I see your face, so I'm like, you're relating to this a little bit.
No, yeah. So there's okay. So I'm gonna okay. So my I didn't have an issue with this with my mom or anything. I think I get a lot of my personality from my mom. I'm in STEM, I'm in engineering and everything. You typically think, oh, very logical, analytical brain, right? But I think over the years I've come to realize I'm a pretty emotionally oriented person. Like I can empathize and relate to like people on tons of problems, and I'm always I would say I'm a pretty good listener, very understanding person. Not to put myself on any pedestals, just I'm aware of things that I'm good at. Wait, what?
Hey, we gotta toot our horn. We say too much
Oh,
negative
yeah,
of
yeah.
ourselves. Hey, this is your episode.
Yeah, man. No, yes.
You're
I
awesome
have confidence in yourself. Yes.
Yeah.
But my dad, and I love my dad so much. I don't have any issues with him, but at the same time, I'm aware of, I guess, going into attachment styles. I'm not sure if this fully relates to that, but I'm just kind of tell the story because it came to my mind. So my dad is so about education above everything else. Like, for him, nothing else should matter to me. Well, not nothing else, but education should be in a whole other universe. And then, all this, this love stuff and everything else kind of just, whatever. But to him, education matters first, which I think is becoming more popular with people chasing careers, things like that. Got no issue with it. It's just, make sure you don't put anyone else down if they want to pursue something different.
Oh,
so
yeah.
But so my dad put education, instilled in my brain that it was extremely important. So I kind of most of my identity was centered around my education, getting straight A's and doing well in school. And even that, that bled into college and kind of in a way made my first serious relationship. I'm not going to say it ruined it. I think it just made a clear distinction that we were in two completely different stratospheres of the way we were pursuing life. It was just never going to work out. Of course, I didn't know that at the time. I was infatuated, right? So I wasn't thinking clearly and logically.
Right.
But so I think that I was so oriented around school that most of my identity was with it. I didn't make tons of friends, and a lot of time, I got this identity as being a hard worker because that's the only thing that I would do was school. I didn't do a lot of extracurriculars or anything just because I just wanted to focus on school. It's the only thing I ever knew, and it was the only thing that my dad seemed to give me praise for. He didn't really say good job about really anything else just because I love sports and all, but I was never the best or really good at them. I never got confidence until later when it didn't matter anymore for organized school sports. But so I would always get praise from school. So I just fully committed to that because that's when I would get that positive feedback. And I think I kind of dug into it a little too much. And as a result, kind of made me into this person that was so focused on it that I neglected other parts of life. And it bled into my relationship. I would kind of take school on my mind when I was with her, because it was always, even when I was with her and trying to enjoy our time together, I would always have school in my mind, and she would notice. And it's not great. Definitely try to find balance in life. That's certainly one takeaway to get from this. And I think I kind of made a bit of an overcorrection after that relationship was over. I've started making lots more friends and doing more events and more extracurriculars and stuff. But then it's I kind of started taking school not nearly as seriously. And I know I could have done better in these recent semesters if I would have just I don't know what the word is. I'm not going to say care more, but it's just
focus.
I don't know. It's I wanted to be with friends. I wanted to be social. I just really wanted to, because I had realized dang, half my college life is over and I've done really no socializing whatsoever. So I think I made a bit of an overcorrection, and now here recently I'm really finding that balance. And there's definitely people in my life that have helped me realize that. Even my new relationship is helping me realize like, hey, school is still like, your school and career is definitely super important. Don't do anything to jeopardize that at all. Which is why I'm coming to say like, there's balance in it, guys. Like, don't neglect that aspect of your life. School education, your career, definitely super important. It's only going to set you up for the rest of your life. Nothing big, right? But also, don't commit so much to where you just miss out on so many like cherished memories that you could have had if you would have just went out and did stuff.
Right. Finding like that healthy balance, because it is possible, to do the things that you love and want to do, and also take care of, the relationships that you're in, or like friendship, family ships, whatever, relationship just in general with people. It's possible. And what I'm hearing from you, Kobe, is, it's that, you didn't get it right on the snap of a finger the first try, um
Yep.
yeah, I mean, it's a process, you know what I mean? Took some time, and it's still taking some time, to find that balance, which is completely normal. I mean, it's just also so much societal pressure on us. Oh, like, anyways, let me not get into that part. But yeah, would you say that, where you're at now in finding balance is different from when you first realized?
What do you mean by first realized?
Like when you first noticed that, whoa, like,
I need to change. I need to get
I'm
things
half
right.
in my college years, and I realized like only been like education. So would you say like the balance is a lot better now?
I would say that definitely. So I would say I first realized that going into my junior year, which just happened. Yeah, I've definitely gotten a lot better. The first semester of my junior year was kind of taking steps to really start making strides to get that balance right. And then the next semester was more of like, okay, I think I've got a bit of a nice framework as to how I'm going to do this. So whatever opportunities come into my life, I'm pretty sure I'll be able to handle it. And then, a relationship opportunity came into my life. I brought it in, and it's developed, and it's great now. And then also it's like, now I have an internship. That's something I was very stressed about going into junior year. It's like, damn, I don't have something. I need to get it. But I would definitely say that I do have a pretty nice balance of school and social life now. It doesn't come easy. I mean, at least for some people. I guess some people just naturally have it, or maybe they just never talk about it. I don't know. But yeah, it can. I guess for all the new college students out there, definitely. I guess don't worry about it too much early on. Just enjoy yourself. Freshman year is going to be the best year, most likely, just because that's the most I had free time, and then I kind of okay. Yeah. So.
I mean, Kobe, that all of that, it literally sounds like it was not immediate. And the reason why I'm pointing that out is because your story is very encouraging and very inspiring. Because I know there are a lot of people out there, at least for me. I know for me, when I notice something that, I want to change, or I can change, or I need to change, I kind of get down on myself, because I'm like, I want it in the snap of a finger. Like I just want to do it right now. And a lot of greatness does take time, and a lot of things, because there is actually learning, learning with time, and it just doesn't happen overnight. And that is such a cliche statement. At least to me, it's such a cliche statement, but it's very, very, very true. Um, but yeah, honestly, with that being said, Kobe, I just want to thank you so much for, sharing your story and being vulnerable with us. I know that we're running out of time. Time literally went by so fast. I was so like in depth and in tune with this conversation, y'all. Kobe's great to listen to. He will be back. He will be back. He will be back for sure, for sure. So I'll
Hopefully
keep y'all.
so. I had a great time.
Yeah. Um, Kobe, if it's okay with you, I'm gonna put your Instagram in the episode description below. If not, it's totally okay as well. I won't put it in there. Um, Really quick before we end the session, are there any like 3, 4, 5 friends you want to give a shout out to? I know you probably have more, but like they'll understand time wise if their name doesn't make it.
um, you know, I won't name drop, but my closest friends, girlfriend now, they know who they are, and they
Aw.
know how much they mean to me, and just so much appreciation for you guys. I've really been getting me through it, especially with this internship out in Houston, feeling all lonely out here.
Yeah.
But you guys really getting me through it. Special thanks to the girlfriend again. She's so amazing. Um, yeah, so thank you guys. Thank you, friends. Y'all are amazing. Love y'all.
Thank y'all. This is Kobe. This is determination. This is beauty. This is process. This is pain has its purpose. This is Kobe's vulnerability time. And I look forward to seeing y'all next Friday. Bye, everyone.
Toodles.